Okay. Hi, Shalom Aleichem. Thank you for joining. You say a story about this man who was going to find a job, and everyone in his town, in the shtetl, the little town in Europe, was trying to find him a job, and they found this amazing opportunity for him. This town, they had this tower, and they asked this guy who couldn't find a job to stand on the tower with a telescope so that when Moshiach will come, he'll be able to alert everybody and tell everyone that Moshiach has come. So he's doing this for 1 year, for 2 years, and this Hasidic Rebbe passes by the town, and with all of his Hasidim, and they see this guy on a tower with a telescope, and the Rebbe sends one of his Hasidim to find out what's this guy doing. And he tells this great Hasidic master about his job. So the Hasidic master says, that's a very, very interesting position you got there. How do you like your job? He says, well, the job isn't that much interesting. There's nothing special happening on my job. However, there's something good about this job. What's good about this job is that it has a great security. That's what he said. Of course, that's not really true because we're all waiting for Moshiach every single moment. And especially the way the world feels right now, so precarious. I love the headlines of the LA Times yesterday. Still counting, except they forgot the last 2 words on the headline. Still counting on God. There's a lot of things that we don't know. One thing we do know is that we can trust in God and in God alone. So this man, he felt he was secure in exile and Mashiach will never come, which is, of course, that isn't true. But I want to talk today about the idea of the coming of Mashiach, and this is very relevant to this week's Torah portion. In addition to relevant to the time that we're in now, there's the last seconds of the exile and the first seconds of the coming of Mashiach, as Rebbe said so many times, how our generation is the last generation of exile and the first generation of Mashiach. But there's also a reference to Mashiach in this week's Torah portion. When the Torah says that Abraham saddled his donkey, the Talmud explains the donkey that Abraham saddled is the same donkey that Moses saddled, and it's also the same donkey that Mashiach will use when he comes. Now, the question is, why is this donkey so significant? Where does this donkey come from? How does this donkey arrive in the hands of Moses? How will Mashiach get this donkey? Why does this donkey have to live so long for this incredible mission? Why can't we just get any random donkey? Why does Mashiach need a donkey in the first place? And most of all, Mashiach isn't just a person that God will send. There is a Mashiach in each of us. And how do we discover and redeem Mashiach inside us? So let's begin with understanding this. The Medrash says that Abraham got the donkey that he used from the first week of creation. When God created the world, God created the special donkey. The Torah says later on about Bilam, that Bilam had a talking donkey. So the child of that donkey is the donkey that Abraham saddled. The Talmud says that no one saddled a donkey until Abraham, which is very peculiar. I mean, why would no one think of saddling a donkey? People took trips all over the world. So why does the Talmud say that no one saddled their donkey until Abraham? There's another medrash which says that, you know how Moses got the donkey? Abraham gave the donkey to Isaac, and Isaac gave the donkey to Jacob, and Jacob gave the donkey to Levi, and Levi gave the donkey to Kahas. And from Kahas, it went to Amram, went to Moshe. That's how Moshe Rabbeinu got the donkey. We know that you're supposed to pass the Torah as a tradition from generation to generation, but why a donkey? Even more, there's another teaching in the Medrash how when Moses passed away, he brought the donkey to the mountain of Nevo where he was buried, and that donkey is pasturing still on that mountain. What is going on? Why do we care so much about the donkey? They say that these people were trying to figure out a way to bring Mashiach, and they heard Mashiach comes riding on a donkey. So they put in an article in the New York Times, Mashiach's donkey is lost. $1 million reward for anyone who recovers Mashiach's donkey. But seriously, what are we talking about? Why is Mashiach's donkey so significant? Moses' donkey, Abraham's donkey. What are we talking about? To add to our questions, the king of Persia once consulted with the Talmudic sage Shmuel, and after their conversation, he said, I have a question for you. You Jewish people say that Moshiach will come riding on a donkey. I have a great idea for you. You know what? I'm going to give your Moshiach a much better, more honorable, white, beautiful horse. You know those white stallions? I'm going to give Moshiach a white stallion. Why would Moshiach want to come riding on a donkey when I can give him an incredible white stallion? What is going on? And so Shmuel answers him, fascinatingly, that Mashiach's donkey will have many colors. According to one interpretation of the Talmud, Mashiach's donkey will have 100 colors. According to another explanation, the explanation of the Aruch, Mashiach's donkey will have 1,000 colors. What does this mean? A 5,000-year-old donkey with 1,000 colors needed for the coming of Mashiach that was passed down from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob till the coming of Mashiach. What is going on? So to understand this, we have to understand a little bit more about the coming of Mashiach and the meaning of the word donkey. The Maharal says that the word donkey, chamor, is related to the word chomer, which means the material. A donkey is a very simple animal and represents a very simple kind of persona, a very lowly, earthy kind of persona. Like in Israel, when they want to insult someone, they say, chamor, you donkey. The expression means that you're foolish, you're just stubborn, and you're going your way of thinking, you have your head to the wall, and you don't pay attention to anybody else. You're just very simple-minded, and you can't think any other way. You can't think out the box. You're just stuck in a square, and you can't think. So chamor represents a very simple kind of animal who just follows along a certain path, and is swept away by popular opinion or whatever is going on that day. The Talmud says that a donkey, even in the period of Tammuz, in the hottest time of the year, the donkey is still cold. So the donkey, chomer, represents the most earthy, the earthiness of the world, most physical parts, components of the world, the lowest parts of the world. That's the meaning of the word donkey. So Hashem made the world in a way that the physical world hides the godly energy in it. And every single thing in the world, there is a godly energy that animates it, creates it, and sustains it every single moment. And if it would depart for a second, that creature, that thing, would revert to nothingness. But the word that the Torah uses for nature is teva. Teva also means submerged. God hid his energy in creation so that we cannot see the godly energy in creation unless he shows us a nace, a miracle. The word for nace, miracle, also means a banner. Sometimes God shows us an open and clear act of divine providence, and not just sometimes, but all the time, God is always showing us the divine providence. And unlike the usual state of nature where godliness is drowned, a miracle is like a banner where God shows us something and says, "This here, guys, look what I'm showing. Look what's going on." So the question is, what is the difference between today and when Mashiach will come? Today, God all animates the world. Mashiach will come, God animates the world. Is there really a difference? There was a woman who had a challenge with covering her hair. She felt that she didn't need to cover her hair. She lived in America in the 1940s when it wasn't very common for women to cover their hair at all. And she visited the previous Rebbe, and she asked the previous Rebbe an interesting question. She asked him, what exactly is going to happen when Mashiach will come? And it's amazing how the previous Rebbe took such deep wisdom and he presented it to her in a way that she could understand and relate to in a personal way. He said to her, if a person wants to walk through a wall, they can't walk through a wall. The wall is hard and you can't get through a wall. But if a person wants to steal, a person wants to break Shabbos, a person wants to eat non-kosher, they're able to. But why? God's will is that we shouldn't break the Shabbos. We shouldn't eat non-kosher. So how come it's possible for us to eat non-kosher against the will of God and we're not able to go through a wall? And the answer is, again, because God hides himself. in the time of exile. When Moshiach will come, the previous Rebbe told her, it will no longer be a option to go against the will of God. God's will will be revealed in the world. We'll see how Hashem is a true reality. And therefore, we'll obviously want to do what God wants. And therefore, it won't be possible for a woman, the previous Rebbe told this woman, to leave her home without covering her hair. Unlike, however, the rules of nature, those rules, Mashiach will come, we'll see there is no such thing as nature, no such force as nature. All there is Hashem's hand. So Mashiach will come, we'll see how the godly energy in nature, what is that this thing we're calling nature has no entity unto itself. All it is Hashem's hand, and making it be the way that it is. So the difference between today and the coming of Mashiach is that in the physical world, we're going to experience Hashem's reality. That's why the Torah says when Mashiach will come, the wolf will lie with the lamb. Why do we care about the wolf getting along with the lamb? If the Torah would tell us that people get along, okay. But why do we need to know about the wolf lying down with the lamb? That the animals will get along. What's the point of that? Is that what we're waiting for? Is that what we're worried about? And the Torah is not trying, the answer is the Torah is not trying to tell us something that we're asking for. The Torah is trying to tell us what Mashiach means. Mashiach means that Hashem's reality will permeate all of existence, so that even the animals will also get along, because they'll also feel the presence of Hashem. And that's why the Torah says that when Mashiach will come, the world will be full of the knowledge of God, like water covers the ocean bed. When you look out at the ocean bed, you don't see the ocean bed. All you see is the water. Water covers the ocean bed. When Mashiach will come, our first reality, the thing that will be most obvious to us, is Hashem's presence. The fact that there's a world here and there are billions of creatures in the world, for us that will be more of like a novelty. That'll be a little more abstract. We'll know about that too, but it'll be more abstract. Today, God's presence to us seems more abstract, and Hashem's reality, God's presence seems more abstract, and the world's reality seems to us more tangible. Mashiach will come with exactly the opposite. We're going to have a tangible, vivid perception of Hashem's reality. Mashiach will come. So this is what the meaning of Mashiach riding on a donkey is. The word donkey, again, means the material. There are some people, in order for them to feel good about themselves, they have to drive a really expensive car. The more expensive the car is, the more people that know they have this expensive car, the more valuable they feel. The nicer their house is, the nicer their car is, the nicer the neighborhood they live in is, the more people that they know, the more people that respect them, that's how they feel valuable. In other words, they feel no value in themselves. They only feel value by the way others honor them and recognize them. They don't feel any intrinsic value to themselves. And that's why they seek a really nice car, a really nice house, to make them feel like they're worth something. So Mashiach doesn't need a horse to make him feel valuable. Mashiach doesn't need the material world, doesn't need to have the nice horse. On the contrary, the whole idea of Mashiach is to change the physical reality and to reveal in the world its godly truth. There was a Paritz in Europe was someone who owned a lot of land and was like a king in the area that he owned land. So this Paritz, he once asked Lubavitcher Chassid to live in the time of the Alter Rebbe. His name was Abhil Paritcher. He's a great genius and scholar and servant of God. He asked him, let's say your Mashiach comes. I know you Jews are always praying for Mashiach to come. You're always asking for Mashiach to come. I know you guys always want this to happen. Let me ask you a question. Let's say your Mashiach comes and all the rest of the Jews go to Israel, but my policemen don't allow you guys to go to Israel. What will you do then? So Abhil Paritcher said something phenomenal, which really indicates how deeply understood Mashiach means, what Mashiach is about. He said, the Mashiach that you won't believe in, I won't believe in either. Because the truth is that what Mashiach is about is not just that there's going to be some kind of place that's amazing, some kind of environment that's electrifying. And Mashiach means it's going to be a exposure of the truth and the goodness that's inherent, that's there, it's present in the world. Mashiach comes, we'll have the same friends, the same family, the same businesses, but we're going to see the goodness in everything. Hashem will show the goodness that's there. And therefore, there's no such thing as someone who's going to go against or agree with Mashiach. Mashiach is about revealing the truth in everyone, the goodness in everyone. That's why the Torah says, when God created the world, the Torah says there was darkness on the face of the deep and the Spirit of God on the water. The darkness on the face of the deep means that before God created the world, or right after God created the world, God created the exile. God created darkness. God created not just the darkness that existed then, but all the future kinds of darkness, all the different nations that have oppressed us and hurt us and maimed us and attacked us and hated us throughout our long and bitter history. But besides creating the darkness, God also created the Spirit of God hovering over the waters. The Talmud says the Spirit of God that hovers over the waters is the Spirit of Mashiach. You have a cell phone. A cell phone is a tool. You don't have a cell phone first and then say, what should I use it for? You first have a need to communicate and a desire to communicate, and therefore you invent the cell phone. First, you have a purpose, you have a matara, you have a goal, and once you have a goal, then you create something for that goal. Hashem created the world, but before he created the world, he created the goal of the creation. The goal of the creation is that Moshiach will come and reveal Hashem's truth in the world. So that's why we find this word donkey playing a prominent role in creation. The idea of Mashiach riding on the donkey, or Avram riding on the donkey, or Moshe riding on the donkey, it's actually interesting, not for the discussion tonight, but the Torah actually makes a distinction between the way Avram, Moshe, and Mashiach will ride on the donkey. The Torah says, Avraham put his tools on the donkey. Moshe Rabbeinu put his family on the donkey. And Mashiach himself will ride on the donkey. The Maral basically explains, and the Rebbe elaborates on the nuances between Avram, Moshe, and Mashiach, how the idea of riding on the donkey means that Mashiach will be able to convert and transform the stuff, the physicality of the world, and reveal Hashem's truth in the lowest place. And that's the way that we'll understand also our subject tonight, how to find the Mashiach in yourself. There is Eingesund, Rabbi Chaim Elul's, one of the Rebbe's emissaries to Paris in France, and he was traveling to visit the Rebbe with a group of yeshiva students one year, and one guy who joined the group was from a wealthy family. His father had died and left him a lot of money, and he wasn't a bit eccentric, maybe a bit more than a bit eccentric, and he thought it was his life's mission to tell everybody how he's Mashiach. And he went over to everybody he could meet and tell them, I'm Mashiach. He walked around Kingston Avenue in Brooklyn and told everybody, I am the Mashiach. And he wasn't very successful. You know, what do people do when someone tells you that? You smile at them, you ignore them, you offer them to go to a therapist. But he wanted to see the Rebbe, and the Rebbe doesn't refuse anybody. So he went to see the Rebbe for a private audience. The Rebbe accepted him. And Rabbi Groner told Rabbi Malul, you know, when this guy goes in, I'm a little worried what's going to happen over here. I may have to pull him out. Can you follow the conversation with me? And I don't speak French, so I'll know if I have to pull him out. So Rabbi Malul says, okay. The guy goes in, they leave the door a little bit open, and the Rebbe's secretary, Rabbi Malul, listens to the conversation. He walks in, he has this little folder with his discussions with Elijah the prophet. On December 3rd, 1967, Elijah the prophet told me that I'm Mashiach, and I had a dream on 1972 with the various other colorful characters of the Bible who also told me that I'm Mashiach. And of course, Rebbe, you know that I'm Mashiach, don't you? And the Rebbe looks at him, looks at the folder, and the Rebbe says to him, I've asked him 3 questions. Do you put on tefillin? He said, no. The Rebbe said, how could that be? Mashiach is the one who brings back to the Jewish people the perfect performance of Torah. Mashiach needs to put on tefillin. This guy really wanted to be Mashiach. So, okay, I'm going to put on tefillin every day. So the Rebbe said, do you keep kosher? He said, no. So the Rebbe said, Mashiach has to have a very pure and refined body. Okay, Rebbe, from now on, I am going to keep kosher. The Rebbe asked him a 3rd question. Do you keep Shabbos? He said, no. But the Rebbe said, Shabbos is a sign between God and the Jewish people. How can you not keep Shabbos? All right, I'm there. I'm going to keep Shabbos too. So the Rebbe told him, keep these things and come back to me in a while, and we'll discuss what more you could do so you should be Moshiach. Now, the guy walked out of the audience with the announcement, the Rebbe said, I'm Moshiach. And the Rebbe didn't exactly say he is Moshiach, but what did the Rebbe say? What was the Rebbe telling him? It was telling him that there is, as it said, the Baal Shem Tov says that every single one of us has a spark of Moshiach in us. But at the same time, besides the spark of Moshiach in us, we also have that chamoir, we also have that donkey-like, stubborn, physical part of us that seems impregnable and not really something that we could contend with and transform into change. So this is the mission of the soul in this world, to make that change. When a Jew takes a cup of water, it says a bracha on the cup of water, he transforms that cup of water and reveals Hashem's energy in that cup. And not just that cup, but it has a ripple effect and affects the entire world. As he says in the blessing, Shahakol niya b'dvaro, that everything was created by God's word. So by a Jew reciting the blessing, he's revealing godliness, not just in that particular space where he is, but he's causing an impact in the whole world. There was a guy who went to collect tzedakah. He went to many people to ask for tzedakah, and one guy wants to throw him out. He gets very angry. He says, what are you doing in my office? Who gave you my number? Who told you to come to me? And he starts cursing him, and he's yelling at him and screaming at him. The guy just standing there, and he's standing there. And after he finishes screaming, he says, just go by and gives him $100. And after the guy turns to leave, he says, can I ask you a question? How did you have the patience to stand there and listen to all of my abuse? He said, very simple. He says, I have a list. On my list, it says, he screams and he screams and he screams, but the end is he gives $100. I have everyone on my list. I know how they work. Our animal soul may not exactly want to go along with our godly soul, but the truth is that God created the physical reality only in order for us to reveal Hashem's truth in the physical reality as well. So it may seem that there's some friction, but the end is it turns around. Rabbi Shalvatitsky related a story about members of his community who was a Holocaust survivor. Rabbi Shalvatitsky is Rebbe's emissary in Belgium, and he said that one of the members of his community was a Holocaust survivor who had 3 daughters. His youngest daughter was raised by Catholics because during the war she was too young to be able to leave. The older daughters were able to leave, but she wasn't, and they had to leave her with a Catholic family. She was raised as a Catholic, and after the war was over, he went to Poland to try to find his daughter. He successfully found his daughter and brought her to Israel. But his daughter was a devout Catholic, and he knew that he can't put any pressure on his daughter, knowing what she had been through, and just tried to give her a lot of love, a lot of warmth. And one day, she is about to go to sleep, and she stands before the cross, and she's praying before the cross and kneeling before the cross, and he walks into her bedroom. Although he was holding it in for a while, but he just couldn't contain himself anymore, and he couldn't hold himself in, and he just let it go. He started to scream at her, and he held her by her shoulders, and before he could say anything, she wore this necklace that her mother, who had passed away, had given her, and the father had held onto her shoulders. There was a strand upon which the jewels were around, ripped, and all the jewels fell on the floor. The father just blurts out, "That's what you're doing. There's a chain from Sarah to Rebecca to Rachel to Leah to you, and you're breaking the strand." Maybe that was a little forceful, but it did reach the heart of his daughter, and she had a complete transformation from those words. There are a lot of things that we think are who we are and what we're about, but then Hashem gives us a moment of inspiration, and we're able to get our bearings and know where we really need to go, where we are and where we should be. This is the meaning of the donkey of Moshiach, the 100-color or the 1,000-color donkey of Moshiach. The Shilti Geburim writes that although all the Levites would sing songs in the temple stood in Jerusalem, they didn't sing a whole song. Every Levite only sung one note of the entire composition. There were a lot of Levim there, but everyone only sung one note. In this world, everyone has their own area in the world, their own sphere of influence, their own relationship to people and places and things that a God has ordained that they should have that unique angle. And the reason why God puts us in this world is for each of us, wherever we are, to reveal the truth of Hashem in that place. That's the meaning of finding your inner Moshiach. Finding your inner Moshiach means finding how to reveal in your corner of the world Hashem's truth. Now, there is a very powerful teaching of the Baal Shem Tov I want to share with you before we conclude for tonight. It says in the Torah, if you will see the donkey of your enemy crouching under the burden, you may resist helping him. So the Torah says, Azov tarzov imu, you have to help your friend, you have to help your enemy with their donkey. Baal Shem Tov said the word donkey refers to the animal inside us. Crouching under the burden means that the animal resists and doesn't want to accept the burden of Torah and its commandments. So you may think I shouldn't help the body, I should hurt the body. So Torah says no. Says the Baal Shem Tov, that is not the way the light of Hashem will rest. The light of Hashem rests only by using the physical and taking the physical and channeling it and elevating it towards holiness. It's not by fasting and breaking your body. It's the opposite. And that's what the Torah says, that Abraham was the first one to saddle his donkey. It doesn't mean that physically there was no donkeys till then. No one saddled their donkey. What it means is that Abraham was the one who was able to take the physical reality of the world and to not feel beholden to it, not to feel validated by it, but instead to make his mark in the world and to find Hashem's truth where he was. As the Torah says, Vayikra b'shem Hashem ka'elam. Avram caused all the people in his time to seek and to call out to God. That's what Avram did, and that's what Avram bequeathed to each of us. His saddling the donkey enables, as the Nachmanides writes, Ma'isa avasim labanim. Whatever happened to our forefathers is a sign for each of us. Abraham, by his control of the world and his control of himself and his ability to reveal Hashem's presence in the world, gives each of us the ability to take charge of wherever we are in the world and to reveal the truth of Hashem in whatever's going on, not to succumb to the false reality that the physical opaque universe seems to tell us, and to realize that we're here for a reason. Although there is choshech al pnei Yisraelim, although there's darkness, but the whole point of the darkness is just for ruach elakim achas pnei mayim, the spirit of Hashem hovering over the waters, so Moshiach will come. And we're really at that time, the coming Moshiach. Sorry about that noise, it's a little noisy over here. The point is that we're about to hear the great noise of the coming Moshiach, the sound of the shofar, to get ready and to do another mitzvah, another word of Torah, another prayer, another act of kindness, and tip the scale and let Moshiach come already and take us all out of this exile when no one will be voting for Democrats or Republicans anymore. Instead, we'll have the coming Moshiach and we'll be voting only for God and for God alone. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Sei gesund.